Good evening, everyone. I'm about to tell you some things that only my therapist knows, so please bear with me here. A healthy support system is the foundation for every area of your life. And you might wonder how I know that. You see, I grew up with an unpredictable childhood. Mine was full of substance abuse. And every day I would go to school and I would pretend that I was a carefree kid. I would do the monkey bars. I would try and pass my multiplication tables because, gosh darn it, I wanted to go to that ice cream social. And every night I would go home and I would live a double life. You see, there wasn't only me, but there was also my much younger siblings. JJ is 8.5 years younger than me, and Nathan is 10 years younger. I would go to bed and I would lay there, and at the wee hours of the morning, 3, 4 a.m., when I would hear one of them cry, I would lay there and wonder if I was going to hear footsteps. And when I heard none, I would get up and I would handle the midnight diaper changes and feedings before quietly crawling back into bed. That is not something an 11-year-old should be responsible for. To make things more complicated, when I was 13, my mom passed away. And now, I really was the one holding our family together. You see, I lack something called family privilege, which isn't spoken about much, but it's the often invisible benefits of having a stable family system. And having family privilege impacts absolutely everything in your life. Remember when I told you that there's things only my therapist knows? I'm going to list some of those out now. Knowing how to brush your teeth. Knowing how to budget, and when you don't, how to handle the fact that you have thousands of dollars in overdraft fees. How to write your college admissions essays. How to have a dependable meal every night. Now, I understand that my experience is so far outside the normal of most of you in this room. The thing is that I thought my normal was everybody's. So when I went to school every day and I just wanted to pass my multiplication tables to go to the ice cream social, what I didn't realize is that those other kids went home and their parents practiced their multiplication tables with them. And that they didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night and help their siblings. I often tell people nowadays that I think differently about community and friendship. And I know that just sounds kind of, whatever, but the thing is, I think differently because I had to. I had no other option. You see, as a kid, instinctively, I knew we aren't supposed to do life alone. When you have nothing, you appreciate everything. Trust me, I know. Your neighbors, your teachers, your parents, the parents of your friends, your coaches, all of their little actions added up for me. And that's how I survived day to day. Slowly, in my teens and my 20s, I realized that my friends could be a major source of support. But here's the kicker. They didn't know what my home life was like. So I leaned into friendships. And that's easy to do when you're in your 20s and your teens. Because friendship, that is the time of life that you are supposed to go with friends. You're supposed to travel with them. You're supposed to, sure, spend a holiday with them. It was very easy for me to hide behind this time in life. But not everyone might notice this. When you hit your late 20s and early 30s, societal messages start to shift. And people tell you to focus on raising a family or getting married or focus on your career, and suddenly friendship falls to the bottom of our priority list, which for the average person maybe isn't that big of a deal because you can just move near your family and have some kids and you'll be fine. But for me, that was the end of my support system. And I wasn't willing to go back to having nothing. So again, I got scrappy and I got desperate. And I started telling my friends how important they were to me. that they were my support system, that this stuff was important and we should stop listening to the societal messages. Now, I did this selfishly because I needed to maintain my support system. I was not willing to go back, but the beautiful thing is that as I told my friends, I watched them start to change. I watched them realize that maybe it was important to prioritize time with friends, that maybe they should still prioritize that annual trip, that we should make this a priority. I really thought that my message was something that only I could take because of my childhood situation, but I was watching my friends in front of my eyes change. So I just kept talking about it. And I have one friend in particular, I will never forget this day. Her name is Sarah. I FaceTimed her earlier, don't worry. She comes from a very big Southern family. And we were sitting in the grass, and I was telling her that I wanted to start talking more about community and friendship and how important this is on a bigger scale. And I thought that she would just say, "Oh, Alex, that's so nice. I'm so happy for you." But what I found is that the more I talked to her and shared my beliefs about friendship, she actually was interested. And she ended the conversation by saying, "You know, I realized that I have always felt like maybe my family was a little intense, that there was some strain there. And what I realized in this conversation is if you're telling me that every once in a while I can call you instead of my mom and it makes our relationship better, that it takes the strain off that very important relationship in my life, I'm all in on your message. I need this too." And that was the moment where I realized that it wasn't just me, that there are so many people out there who need to talk more about community and friendship. Not just my friends, not just Sarah. I want to share real fast 3 of the basic takeaways that I feel like my friends really leaned into that made an impact. The first one is, we need to build our own safety nets. When we don't, we often don't realize the mental gymnastics of trying to go it alone. A few weeks ago, I went out of town and I realized that I forgot to stop our mail. Some shoes were being delivered. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I was able to text our neighbors and ask them if they could grab it. That's a pretty inconsequential example, but what I realized is that that's simple. What if I had my 2 kids, maybe 6 and 7, let's say, that needed to get off the bus? And I was 5 minutes behind because of traffic. We're doing so much work trying to anticipate every single problem because we don't have that safety net. So many people are trying to go alone. But if you knew that neighbor that was down the street, that's maybe that grandmotherly figure or the person who works from home or the person who has kids that are a similar age, and you could just call them, wouldn't that allow you to breathe a little bit easier? The second message is that we're dynamic people, and somehow society has convinced us that you just need to find one best friend or one romantic partner, and they're supposed to hold all the parts of you. And we're not doing ourselves justice because we're dynamic and we have different interests. We're not kids anymore who go to the same school every day. We need a variety of people who show up for the various roles that we play, the people that we are. And the final one is that you can impact this area of your life. And you need to. We need to stop waiting. Because the thing is, I can tell you from personal experience, the moment where you need your safety net, you won't have the energy to build it. Now, my low was pretty low. But everybody has lows, that's what I've come to find. That could be a new mom who realizes she has postpartum depression, rocking her baby in the middle of the night. Could be someone who's divorced and realizes that they don't really have the friends they thought they did. Could be someone who's lost their job, had to close down their business. It's not just me. We all have moments where we need our people. So we all need to build our safety nets for our future selves. Quite often when I talk about this issue, people send me a lot of articles, they send me a lot of things, and community and connection are often cited by the big experts in all sorts of issues that are plaguing our communities. Gun violence, mental health, parental leave, men's health, men's issues. I could go on. And they just say, what we need is more community and connection. That's great. But what they don't tell you is, how are we doing that in our everyday lives? What small actions are adding up to make the difference? And I'm lucky to say that that's what I do every day. I wake up and I have that conversation on my podcast, in my book, on stage. What actions are we taking to make an impact here? Thank you.